What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, in today's first entitled parent story, an innocent kid is just chilling by the side of a river, having a nice and relaxing day. That is, until an entitled parent comes up and confronts him, and then kicks him into the river. That time, I was pushed into a river. So this happened a while back, about a year or two ago. I was sitting by the Murrumbidgee River in an Australian town called Wagga Wagga. At the time, the flow of water was going down, so this created a nice ledge down to the water. The vibe was good and pleasant, but that didn't last long. The following happened. An entitled parent came up to me. "Hello, this is nice, isn't it?" "Yeah, it's pretty relaxing." "Could you just move over there? We want this spot." "Why would I move? You can just sit there if you like." That is no way to respond. Now, just move already. The answer is no, please go away. For a moment, the couple look as if they have accepted defeat and walk away. I then forget about it and just try to enjoy my time. Soon after though, she comes back and asks me again to move. I obviously tell her no. She responds, "Well, in that case," and she puts her foot into the square of my back as I was sitting down and shoves me into the river. At that time, I was a very skinny child, and it doesn't take much to move me. While I was in no serious danger, as the river was slow, it was completely uncalled for. As I got my footing and began to get myself out of the water, I saw her running off in the distance. That was an eventful weekend. Well, eventful is certainly one way of describing it, OP. My god, just casually sitting there having a lovely day relaxing by the river, then getting kicked into it. I mean, you're lucky the river wasn't fast flowing or, had serious currents, because that could have been a lot more serious. Wow, why would you do something like that? Just go and sit somewhere else? Crazy. Now, before we move on to our next story, I firstly want to tell you all about Raid Shadow Legends, who are back to sponsor another video. Raid Shadow Legends is the first game to bring a true console-level experience to your phone. As you probably know, they've pretty much taken over the scene. You can explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches. Use my link below to download Raid yourself on both mobile and PC. As long-term viewers of my channel will know, I've been playing Raid for a while now, and these are some of the champions I've been using. First up, Skull Crown, one of the dopest masks I've ever seen, and she attacks every enemy at once, which is pretty OP. Next, Occult Brawler. This has to be one of the ugliest dudes I've ever seen in any game. I mean, just look at the bloke. If even I am disgusted by the sight of him, just imagine how my enemies feel fighting him. And finally, the GOAT, big old Sir Nicholas. You simply can't not love this man. I mean, come on, he's literally the Santa Claus of Raid. Personally, the insane variety of champions is one of the best bits about the game. In fact, Raid just passed their 2-year anniversary, and to celebrate, they've released a huge update, including 6 new champions, which look fantastic. Plus, they've just released their second version of the Doom Tower. That means new rewards and new gear to win to customize these champions. So if you want to get a huge head start on Raid, all you gotta do is hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. That will get you your free epic champion, Jotun, who is amazing for the Doom Tower, 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 3 ancient shards, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in-game. These rewards will only be available for the next 30 days, and you can access them right here. Guys, you absolutely smashed the last Raid sponsorship. The support was honestly mind-blowing. If you could do something even similar to that this time, it would be massively appreciated and would really support me and the channel. Love you all. Let's get back into the video. Stop! My daughter is not cooked yet. The parent here is more idiotic than entitled, but just his first sentence in this story makes him relevant for here, in my opinion. This happened a few years ago in a parking lot of a mall I was going to with my mum. Mid-July, nearly 39 degrees Celsius. That is over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. When we get out of the car, I saw a movement out of the corner of my eyes in the car behind us. I thought it was a dog at first, and I said to my mum, "What butthole leaves a dog inside a car when it's so hot?" But when I looked again, I saw that it was a baby, a 1-year-old girl sitting at the back. I alarmed my mum, but she thought that I was kidding. I was messing around and telling trashy jokes for the past 30 minutes of the ride, and I was the kind to make some dark humor jokes like that. When she didn't believe me, I bolted inside the mall, saw a security guard, and informed him with the number plate I'd memorized. He made a call through the speakers, saying, If you're not at your car in 2 minutes, say goodbye to your passenger door. I led him to the car, my mum following us, dumbfounded by this actually being true. And also infuriated, the security stopped her from smashing the conductor window right there, and we waited, waving at the girl who seemed conscious through the tainted windows. A man arrived yelling murder when he saw us. "Stop! Stop! That's my car! There's my daughter inside!" The security guard responded, "Yes, you moron, there's your daughter inside. Open the doors now!" He unlocked the car and, at the security guard's request, took the baby outside. The car was an oven. She was soaking wet, covered with sweat, and started crying the moment she felt the relatively fresh air outside. The security guard guided us inside and gave a cup of room temperature water to drink for the baby. When the dad got the cup of water in his hands, while the security guard was explaining to the cashier what was happening, the dude had the audacity to drink it first. My mum exploded, screaming at him to give it to his daughter, in such colourful language that I have to this day no idea how to translate it. By the way guys, this all happened in France. He really didn't seem to understand what was happening. He actually tried to go back to his half-full cart when the girl had finished her cup. The security guard stopped him just by putting a hand on his shoulder. He said, and the dude complied at every single word, "Stay right there. My colleague will take your baby, okay? There, sit down. We're waiting for the police and for the ambulance to arrive. Stay calm, breathe, your daughter is okay, but we have to make sure of what happened, okay? Okay." The father, after 2 minutes, said to the cashier who was holding his daughter and giving her water non-stop, "Maybe give her another cup of water. It's hot." "You don't say, mate, you don't say." The security guard raised his voice. I straightened my back hearing him, like when your dad yells at your brother and you just want to make sure you don't draw his attention. "Dude, shut the F up. The police are on the way." The father complied again, and we just left. We were just standing there, low-key hoping to see the security guard kick this dad's butt, but we were totally useless for the most part. So I gave my info to the security guard, and we went on our merry way. We chilled around the mall for about another half an hour, but when we exited, the guy was gone. The daughter was gone, the car was still there, and the security guard waved us goodbye with a big smile. We just assumed that everything had gone well. I received a phone call 2 days later from the police, and they told me what happened, and we learned that the father was facing a fine, years in prison, and had already lost the custody of his child. Thinking about that day is how I managed to be proud of myself every once in a while. Yeah, OP, you should be seriously proud of yourself. I don't think it's going too far to say that you probably saved that girl's life. Genuinely. She's 1 year old, a baby, in a car in 39 degrees heat. I have no idea what sort of temperature it would have been inside that car, but for somebody so young to be in conditions like that without any water or just in general, yeah, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that she was probably quite close to dying there, and you almost definitely saved her life. So of course, feel proud of yourself. That's an amazing thing to have done. As for the dad, I mean, it just begs belief. I can't really understand how that sort of person becomes a parent. That should just not be allowed. Clearly, when he didn't even realize that he'd made a mistake and was still, you know, saying, "Oh, I think she needs some water," like the most obvious stuff I've ever heard of all time, he's got something wrong with him. I think that's clear. He is deluded. He doesn't realize, I don't think, that he was so close to losing his child and going to prison for murder. Mental guy, like genuinely there's something wrong there. There's a screw loose up there, because no sane person would ever even leave their kid in a car, let alone on a hot day. I don't think they'd do that. You wouldn't leave your 1 year old baby in the car alone, would you? Let alone on a hot day on purpose, saying, "What? I wanted her to be in there longer. May I give her some water? Sure, she'll be alright." Ridiculous. And now moving on to our final story of today's video. My entitled mother throws out my ADHD medication, then complains when my grades drop. I'm currently 21 years old, and I've had to live with my very entitled mum my entire life. I have begun to cut contact with her, but she liked to take her anger out on me before I left, and now that burden falls onto my sisters. Luckily though, they're going to college at the end of summer, and my parents are finally getting divorced. so I thought I'd share my stories. So for some backstory, my first semester of high school, 2 of my teachers messed up my grades, lowering them by a whole level, but my GPA wasn't all that improved. However, my parents got called in for a meeting with the vice principal. The meeting went well, as we cleared up the issue and even got me out of the crazy history teacher's class. She taught that God was aliens as if it was fact. Anyway, afterwards, the VP told my parents I might have ADHD. Luckily, my dad took it seriously, and after a year of arguing, I got diagnosed with ADHD combined type and prescribed Vivance, I think it's pronounced. After that, my grades improved and a lot about myself made sense. My mum, on the other hand, felt it was too much of a burden on her. My mum was so entitled that my entire personality should be shaped around what made her look better. To her, I'm not an introvert, I don't love comic books, I don't play video games or D&D, and I don't hate sports. And I especially don't have ADHD. She tried to make me keep it as my little secret. I didn't. Fast forward to finals week my junior year. My medication bottle, which had just been refilled the other day, was now empty. I asked my mum to see if it had been misplaced. She, unabashedly, says she flushed it as it was too embarrassing for her to have a broken kids. I got so angry and walked out of the house, going to school without a word. I texted my dad on a business trip and told him what had happened. As I did, my mum texted me saying if I was going to be a little ungrateful idiot, I can stay away. I informed my dad that I had nowhere to go. Being amazing, he actually got me a hotel to stay in and study in. I tried to focus on my finals for the entire week, but my grades sucked. When my mum found out, she was fuming. She yelled at me for hours about me being an R-word. I put up with this for so long that while I usually broke down and admitted it was right because it was easier and I'd been broken at that point, I was just done. I went to bed while she kept screaming. She cancelled my phone plan for a whole month. She blames me being on the phone and my TV/movie watching. I'm currently a film major, so what do you want me to do? I didn't mind, but eventually it was too inconvenient for her. Even years after this, she still claims it's all in my head and I shouldn't be trying to take my medicine. This is just one of the many entitled moments, but it's not the worst, honestly. I might share some more stories, like the story of my graduation party. Oh Jesus, well that sounds very similar to a video I made the other day. It's on screen right now and you can click the I button as well if you want to go and watch that one. That was an entertaining one, but yeah, OP, if you do have any more stories, I'd love to read them out because that one was very entertaining. I mean, entertaining, but really, really sad. Let's be fair. Wow, I just can't believe that people are like this. You've been diagnosed with ADHD, a clinical diagnosis, and your mum still says, no, in my heart, in my head, that doesn't exist in my son. My son would never have ADHD. My son is an American footballer who goes outside and is very sociable and gets all the girls. Just accept your son for who he is, maybe. Just mental. What's the point? I just don't understand what the point is. Like, you're literally building your son up to be, not happy with himself in future. How is OP ever going to think to himself, you know what? Yes, I may not be the popular kid. I may not be so social. I may be an introvert, but that's absolutely fine. That's me. If he's got his own mum telling him, no, that's wrong. I don't even want to believe my son is like that. I refuse to accept my son how he is. How is that going to, affect the kid? It's just mental. Why? I don't understand it. Why? Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you have enjoyed it. Again, a massive thank you to Raid for sponsoring this video. Guys, please go down into the comments, the description, click the link, just play through the tutorial. It will really help me out. And yeah, if you do that for me, we might get another deal in the future and it would be a massive benefit to me and the channel. So really appreciate you doing that. If you want more videos though, on the other hand, they're on screen. And if you want to subscribe, click this button. I will see you all tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.